G'day, 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 ladies and gentlemen, and all those in between. We are back today bringing you another episode of Spectate the Player. Whereas a Chapter 1, Season 1 veteran, and we're bringing you guys the latest and greatest tips, tricks, strategies, and more to winning not only more games, but more crowns in Fortnite Chapter 6. So guys, as always, if you're keen to see if this crown player up ahead here is going to be able to get it for the 2 for 2 right, the back-to-back wins, can they do it? Let us see, make sure you guys do hit that like button and you hit that subscribe button. Right, and as always, use creator code SurelyItsButter the next time you're in the item shop. Going to take a little bit of damage here. I like to give these crown players a little bit of a challenge at the start. I find if you get too aggressive, they can get scared. Here we go, the close range with the twin fire. Already offering Samuel X Jerome here a very interesting moonwalk mid-air there. The Veiled Precision being the ranged weapon, or at least going to be that, wouldn't say it's an assault rifle, but definitely not going to be a shotgun. It will be a rifle one and the same to some extent, correct me if I'm wrong, of course. Here we go, the zipline giving him Overwatch. No full damage, of course, when jumping off of the ziplines. And no real ammunition left here. Fortunately, it should be a bot. Another crown player going down here. What do we got? We got Danjois. Danjois 1 will be dropping the crown here. We've already got a crown, though, for Samuel X Jerome. Alright, I tell you what, Jerome Powell himself. Look, I tell you what, if there's some rates to cuts, it will be now. Right, Samuel is now going to be getting the healing off here to give him that ability to, be able to withstand a lot more torture as this game progresses. Of course, this drop spotted strategy in specific is quite interesting. We haven't really seen this one before, but I do have a lot of hope for it. So it is very close to the hive. There's a marketplace here, a fuel station here, it seems. Maybe it is just a refueling pad for a hammerhead shopper. I'm assuming we'll find out soon, and of course we'll have that Night Rose NPC there for the taking. A legendary chest, or potentially an OXR chest here as well. He will go for it. He gets the lead spitter, as well as some crash pad juniors, which always comes in handy, and of course a med mist. Look, I tell you what, if there is anything that is more situational than a med mist, I've yet to find it. It's probably arguably the most situational item in the game, considering just how how it pales, right, in comparison to its healing superiors. Alright, though, the big boys, the minis, the flowberry fizzes, and the exotics. A lot of different healing items here. Of course, he walks past the Sentinel, opting for the blue sweeper shotgun instead of the grey, which is a fair choice. Would I choose it myself? No, I would choose a grey Sentinel over a legendary sweeper shotgun, but that's just because that's how I use the Sentinel, right? I use the Sentinel in a double pump way with the Wrecker Revolver, and for me, that's what I prefer. I prefer the damage, I prefer the accuracy and the general playability that this Sentinel offers. That peek ability as well. There's a lot of guns out here, guys, with that peek ability. He does get shot out from somewhere here. Of course, the roly-poly now coming in clutch as a form of rotation to Samuel X Jerome. Let us see if he decides to go for it. He is going for the Queen. Now, the Queen is already activated. The player to the right here, he scopes in, sending him back for 93, trying to follow up for the white. He's so close. He doesn't quite get there, though. Of course, he will have this jump pad to offer him that reach. He does get him quite low here. The shotgun, however, the Wrecker Revolver is doing absolute God's work. He probably could have got it with the last bullet, to be fair. Not too sure if he's lost him. I think he has. He spots another player down below there. Quite a lot of carnage here, quite a lot of adrenaline going on in this POI. He spots the marshmallow, of course, closing in. He doesn't have much wiggle room in terms of that ammunition. We'll be nailing there for the blue variant of the Wrecker Revolver, which is always brilliant to see. That, of course, the grey Wrecker is going to be quite sizably weak, noticeably weaker. However, now he has the blue. Of course, if he can get this Queen, he'll have that all the way upgraded to a mythic variety. Again, now full shield, not so much full heal. There is a med kit there. Of course, guys, do not neglect the geysers that are located around this map. He goes instead for the Queen here, shockwaving over. He watches his side flanks as he's midair. He's ensuring no matter what, he is looking for the weak areas and weak points of interest. I would right now drop the jump pads for the legendary slurp juice. He decides, but I don't need shields. I don't want the best healing item in the game. Of course, why is it the best healing item? Yeah, this is a brilliant question, guys. A brilliant question to ask me real quick. I will ask of you to please do hit that like button and hit that subscribe button if you guys are enjoying this episode so far. We're trying to reach 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Alright, end of the year. We started at the start of the year. We are halfway there already. I feel hopeful. You know, I really do. But these guys, I tell you what, if you guys are feeling hopeful for some shields, they are a great way to get it. Right, you're going to be able to get 30 health and 30 shield regen from them. Alright, very, very nice. And they also are timed, so if you guys use the redeploy, like you go up with the geyser, by the time you guys head back down to it, it'll be ready to heal you up again and shoot you back up. So you can rinse and repeat. Very, very tidy there. Sliding in, checking the sides. They're on top here. He hits it for the 66. The 28 for the follow-up. Now maintaining the underground here. Trying to be cautious. He dodges the first shot. Now jumping up for the second. He hits it for the 94. Well played. Dogs, 28, 38, 3 will be going down there. Dropping both the airstrike as well as some other decent items. However, plenty of heals here as well, guys, are in these vaults. I personally don't like to stay in these for longer than it takes me to loot them. Now, he's opting for the mythical, the exotic Wrecker Revolver. I think this is... look, so long as he doesn't pick up a shotgun, I think it's a blunder. I think it's fine. If he goes to double pump with the Wrecker, that is where I 100% will say that it is better to have a mythic than the exotic. Because the exotic will have the enhanced fire rate. However, you will, of course, here we go. Try to follow this is going to be an absolute nightmare. Be careful though, because these have a 20-second cooldown in between those shockwave hammer shots. Which means once you're out, you are out for a bit. He needs to reload. He should have done this before. Unstable thing, 89 will be going down there to a very, very fortunate headshot by Samuel X Jerome, of course, picking up the mythical variety here of the OXR rifle from, I believe, there are 2 spots you can spawn at. It was only at Demon's Debris at the start of the season, however, now, guys, that has changed. Demon's Debris and Dystopia City is where it will randomly choose between. But in general, guys, the exotic Wrecker Revolver compared to the mythic is a lot weaker. I believe it does like, what, 50 damage less, give or take. It's pretty insane. But it does make up for a quicker fire rate as well as a more an increased headshot multiplier. So a lot of great potentiality there. But if you guys are using it for double pumps, for me, I don't need that quicker fire rate for a double pump. I'm shooting it once and then I'm switching immediately to a shotgun. I don't need that. In terms of the headshot multiplier, it would be nice, but is it at the cost of 50 damage? No, thank you. I'll be grabbing the mythic, hell, even the legendary and purple over the exotic. That's for my playstyle if I'm double pumping. Alright, so if you guys are doing the same, I 100% will recommend it. However, if you guys are not doing that, you know, you can probably actually get a lot more benefit out of the exotic. So long as you guys are, of course, not double pumping. Now, we do have 26 other players left. We have Wild Donkey going down there. He scopes in on someone there with the Reaper. No, it's going to be the Falcon Sniper. Again, a very, very weak gun. Look, it was weak when it was introduced at the start of this chapter. No one has really been head over heels for it since its inception. Now, it does have a variable scope this season, right? So you can adjust its scope to be closer or further out. A couple of options there. I think there's only 2 options. Do I think he should be running arguably the most, probably the newest, actually, Nerf gun to the game? Alright, over shields. I don't think so. I think that is a blunder on his part. If he takes too much damage here, or in any sort of situation between now and the last 21 players, he really is going to be beholden to the loot he finds, as well as the loot that is around him. So, I think that is way too much RNG for my risk tolerance, and I believe that having a appropriate risk tolerance at all times is going to be the best thing for you guys. So, adjust your risk appropriately. He snipes in for the 59 damage there. It's just not much. You could do more with the mythical OXR. And you could get more shots in and be more accurate. There's no real reason, guys, to have this sniper rifle. I mean, maybe this is just for his playstyle, for his strategy. And I guess we'll find out soon enough. I mean, it could be great for taking advantage of players who are camping in places. Can definitely recognize that. Of course, on the zipline here. Now, it's going to be doing the old little bunny hop method here. I call this actually the goosey goose. Right, the Goosey Goose is where they look like they're going to be jumping off of the power tower. And of course, here they go down. Stronger Eagle with the crown will be going down there to Samuel X Jerome. But the Goosey Goose, similar to the Do-Si-Do, a lot of jumping. However, these zip lines will grant you immunity to fall damage. So, worst case scenario, if you want to hop off, you can actually jump off there. However, guys, one of the other things with the Goosey Goose is the ability to move up in more than one axis. So my biggest sort of complaint with zip lines, and you guys heard me say this in yesterday's episode, do go check it out if you haven't seen that one already. But essentially, right, when you guys are going across zip lines, you're moving in one axis, right, one dimension, left and right, essentially, like on an X, for example. To be able to jump up doing the Goosey Goose allows you to traverse in an X and a Y axis, right? It gives you a little bit more latitude there, which allows you to be able to dodge a bit more shots and makes you less of a sitting duck. So quite a lot of potential there for the Goosey Goose. Definitely one to try and practice with, but of course, I try to avoid getting in that situation altogether. I much prefer having the ground, having a car as cover. There's going to be players who prefer to be up in the air like that, and that's okay. Just sort of bear that in mind, that there are going to be players who are finding it very easy to shoot players up there, so you can get a lot more games griefed rather than not. Okay, checking out on the ground there, trying to find where the remaining 18 players are in this lobby. Guys, you know what 2 buttons to hit if you guys have enjoyed this episode so far. If you've enjoyed Samuel X Jerome as well, let me know down below in the comments section if you enjoyed it, and what is something you have enjoyed so far. Alright, now into the car. Alright, taking a bit of a page out of Butter's book here. However, of course, not a G-Wagon. This car will still be able to get you in and around places. Right, it will have less fuel and less health than the G-Wagon as well. So, again, not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea at all. I'm 100% going to be a coffee player when it comes to my cars. Right, I want that all black. Alright, I want that all black G-Wagon. Here he goes. A Rift Pod as well landing nearby. Now, he does have the ridgeline here. He also has these jump pads. There's going to be quite a few of them. One here to his right. One up ahead now to his left. Which is going to offer him a lot of that leeway to be able to rotate on and around this sort of mountain, as well as the area nearby. So, a lot of potential here for Samuel. Coming up to the top here. Bit of a Spectate glitch, but he has found someone. Trying to damage this car is going to be key. I personally try to go for the wheels at all costs. And then if I can't get the wheels, if they get too far away, I just revert to shooting the body of the car instead. So I think there is sort of, different ways you guys can go about trying to remove these cars from the lobby. A player on the zipline to the right there, he's missed them. Again, guys, try and rewind that in 0.25 speed to see if you could spot that player there to the right. Pretty sure it was one of those beach Ziggy skins. I could be wrong, but a little bit yellow maybe, potentially. But let us see now, coming on and over towards the middle of Swarmy Stash and OXR HQ. Plenty of slurp barrels, slurp trucks in that sea. There will be 3. Alright, one approximately, if we zoom in here, one here, and I think one here. So a lot of healing potential there, as well as, of course, look, it is a bug location, guys. It is one of these OXR locations, so a lot of players are going to notice a lot of loot here. Their loot density is incredible, as well as the close proximity to the marketplace up here. The Doctor Strange taking a little bit of heat here. Slick Elephant will be going down there for the 8 kill to the name. Samuel X Jerome, I tell you. I absolutely tell you, it's a very good player. I would have to rate them. I'll try and rate them at the end of the episode, but I would say so far, this player is probably high plat, maybe diamond. That's where I would place them personally. But let us see now. There is a bomber here. Now, the bombers are different to the swarmers. The bombers are going to be the ranged bugs, these explosive ones. Now, they're a lot tankier, and they do pack a punch, so do be mindful of those. A drop pod to the left here. Will he go for it? Now, he is that S rank. He's checking out the sides. I think he'd be silly not to go for this right now. You're going to be able to get the superhero or that OXR boon, which is going to increase a lot of your stats. Dr. Gung Ho there will be going down. Top 10. Top 10 for Samuel X Jerome. Can they send it back for the win? Can they get it for the 2 for 2? And now, I'll tell you what, there's been quite a few games out there where we've seen players who do it. Of course, the Falcon Eye here, sending him back for 88. Now trying to damage the car. Now the Falcon actually, this sniper rifle used to knock the car back significantly in previous seasons. Mike 17100 will be going down. Does have the airstrike as well here, guys. Brilliant. He will walk right past it. He says, but I don't need it. Now, I tell you what, there's a few things in life that I do need, and that airstrike is not one of them. They will be able to do a massive amount of damage. In fact, I'm pretty sure it one hits if the player stays underneath it. It is completely catastrophic, cataclysmic. It is going to be packing a bit of a hard punch and a half. Now the G-Wagon to the left here. He does jump out to go for more fuel and more health, he says. But I'll tell you what, that is what you want from your cars, and that is why I'm a huge fan of the G-Wagons over the sedans, is they have more health and they've got more fuel. You know, you really can't go wrong there, especially with the wider and taller body. You're going to be able to hide behind it for a lot more cover as well. So, all round a fantastic choice of mobility here by Samuel. He's checking the sides, making sure he wasn't followed. You know, there's going to be a lot of players out here, especially with a relatively small zone. For 8 players. So when there's no shots like this, I like to play a mind game, right? To go, well, if there's no shots going around, it's likely players are evenly spaced, right? No one is really close to each other. So you can sort of work out which direction players are most likely going to be, and then position yourself around that, and try to really take advantage of that. And I mean, we kind of can see this in our Inside the Mind episode on Friday. But of course, look, it is what it is. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. I will not give you guys a spoiler for that episode if you haven't already seen it, but do go check it out. Samuel X Jerome now taking a moment. Top 7 right here. Top 7. All right, 6 other players remain. One other player is a car, which is quite interesting. When you're going up against car players late game, you should know that the odds are not necessarily going to be in your favor, right? That means they've got mobility as well, which is definitely going to increase their chances of winning. I think in general, just having that ability to have cover, you know, having that ability to traverse the map quicker than your opponents, in general, is going to grant you an edge, right? So, well played by Samuel, and well played to the guy on top there, who's also taking advantage of that. He finds them. Of course, the sniper glint will give away your positioning here, be quite noticeable, so the bush isn't really doing a lot of work. His overshield is down now. And I believe Samuel X Jerome is figuring out once and finally why no one picks up the Falcon Eye Sniper. There's just a lot of better alternatives out here. I'd even say the Deadeye DMR is better than the Falcon Eye. But guys, if you disagree, let me know down below in the comments section. Here it goes. The OXR, of course, doing a lot more damage than that Falcon Eye because it is a great gun. It's going to be hard hitting. It's going to be decently accurate long range as well. However, this car has seen better days. He's going to be in the close range here now. No medium range here against the soccer sweat. At least a sporting sweat of some kind. Anonymous 278 will be going down there for the top 5 position. Now opening up to Samuel X Jerome. Can they do it? I think so. I think Samuel's got this in the bag. All right, this Falcon, I wish they wouldn't rely on it a lot. But I mean, look, fair enough. He's switching now to the OXR for the long range shot. He says, but I tell you, I've tried to give it a chance. I regret it. He doesn't have a shotgun. I'd prefer to have a double pump wrecker, especially an exotic, although it is, I mean, look, if I'm double pumping, I want a mythic. I'd prefer that any day of the week over not having a shotgun and relying solely on that Falcon Eye. I mean, look, I guess you don't have to use it, but I mean, at some point, you gotta ask yourself, when do you drop it for another gun? You know, do you guys find yourself in similar situations where you pick up these guns, you think they're going to go well, and then they just don't turn out well, and you're thinking, geez, where can I pick up a so-and-so? Where can I pick up a Sentinel? When can I pick up one of these, you know? Let me know down below in the comments section if you've been in those situations. Here we go. He takes the car. It's very, very low. Samuel X Jerome should be shooting that out to remove that player, especially because that is a guaranteed real player. And it's likely going to be a decent player as well, considering they made it to endgame. You know, that damage will do 75 damage upon explosion. So, very free damage here. However, Samuel X Jerome is being an absolute rat. I mean, they're showing the true colors here. This is what I would expect from a Falcon Eye sniper player, is to just hide in a bush. We do have a player around the corner there. We might go and spectate them instead. See if we can't get a little bit of action. We've got Hairy Scrow here. Now with the mythical sweeper. The close range against the Power Ranger. He will send back Ratty H to the lobby there. Glad to see a bit more action Of course, we'll have Harry Scrow as well as Samuel X. Jerome getting shot at from beside. I'm pretty sure that might very well be our Spectate. Alright, finally getting off some nice shots there. However, pretty much already healed up the bulk of that damage, so it wasn't necessarily a game-changing sort of shot there by that player, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's definitely made Harry Scrow a little bit more cautious. I would not be here. He just got shot at from that direction. You do not want to be opening your back towards that location again. I'm pretty sure that's the bush he's in as well. I could be wrong. I'm just taking a gauge. Of course, Harry Scrow is on the outskirts of zone here. He will try to rotate in. He will fumble the Crash Pad Jr. A car up ahead there. He will be hiding behind the rocks. Let us go check who else is here. We've got Rat Milker. Hell of a naming scheme here. Rat Milker in the bush as well with the Falcon Eye. 2 players at the end of the game, both with Falcon Eyes, both hiding in bushes. At some point, guys, you got to ask yourself, when is it just a statistic? All right, let us see. Now, scoping on in. He is just going to be waiting. Waiting and waiting. We've got another one waiting and waiting as well. And then Harry Scrow doing God's work right now. Trying to get out in the open. Trying to get the game moving. Trying to finalize things. Coming up around the corner here. He will hear some footsteps getting shot up from the rock over towards yonder there. And of course, his roly-poly will need to be petted here. Alright, now walk up to your roly-poly if it is in the state, guys. And press the interact button. He's stuck for a moment, however. You want to be ensuring you've got cover on each direction. You cannot be relying on your gut feeling when it comes to this. You need to be methodically going about it in a way where you will analyze your risky areas. It's Samuel X. Jerome here for the close range. He's dosey-doing, but they're both doing it. It's going to be... wow. Rat Milker getting the kill on Harry Scrow and Samuel X. Jerome. Well played to Rat Milker, guys. If you did enjoy that episode, make sure you hit that like button. You hit that subscribe button. Help us reach our goal of 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And as always, take care. Garnier.